Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching, yes, the Yankees Entertainment and Sports Network.
The Yankees' three-city road trip begins tonight here in Texas, and there should be a good crowd on hand as the fans pour in to the ballpark here. Very nice night for baseball. As tonight, the Yes Network presents New York Yankees baseball. It'll be the Yankees against the Texas Rangers in the first game of a three-game series from Globe Life Park here in Arlington, Texas. Hi, everybody. Ken Singleton along with David Cohn tonight. Well, there's good news and bad news as far as a recent homestand for the Yankees. The good news, they won 2 out of 3 over the weekend against the Tampa Bay Rays. The bad news, the rest of the homestand didn't go quite as well as the Yankees lost 6 out of 9. Now they're trying to get back on track tonight. Nathan Eovaldi takes the mound for the Yankees. He's a hard thrower.
Yes, you know, we've come to look for Nathan Eovaldi and the kind of stuff he features. Upper 90s fastball, up in the zone, razor blade sliders that he picked up this spring in the low 90s, and of course splitters down and away. Eovaldi is trending in the right direction, coming off a quality start here. Missing a lot of bats nowadays as he struck out 7 batters for the 7th consecutive start, which is now a franchise record.
Well, tonight's pitching matchup brought to you by People's United Bank NA. See what know-how could do for you. We mentioned Nathan Eovaldi will be going for the Yankees. Cesar Ramos will get the start for the Texas Rangers. His first appearance in a Rangers uniform. He's pitching because Cole Hamels, the Rangers ace, is out with an injury. Well, the Stars will be out tonight here in Texas as we get this series underway. Texas loses to 3 in a row against Chicago, trying to get back on track, and the Yankees have always played well here in Texas. Coming up next. In part by the new JetBlue card. Fly faster than you think. By the Honda Dream Garage Sales Event, now at your Honda dealer. By Geico, 15 minutes can save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you've got to get DirecTV. Call 1-800-DIRECTV. The Lone Star flags representing the Lone Star state of Texas as we're about ready to get underway here. Rangers have not taken the field as of yet. Here's Joe Girardi, and Joe trying to get his team going here. They won 2 out of 3 against the Rays over the weekend at Yankee Stadium, as we mentioned, but Michael Pineda in yesterday's game, David, he struggled right from the get-go, and the Yankees couldn't come back, and they lost 8-1. As I mentioned before, the Yankees, going back to the days when you used to come in here, the Yankees have always seemed to play well here in Texas. As we look at Michael Pineda there on the left, Severino will get a start in this series, and Ronald Torres to Severino's left as they are sitting on the bench waiting for this one to get started.
Yeah, it's always been a good hitter's ballpark down here. Perennially, a lot of offense produced at this ballpark. Depending on the wind currents, the ball always carries well. And I remember the hitters coming to Texas in batting practice. It's a good place to get your bats going. It's a good place to get some offense on the board.
Yeah, I think it's one of Paul O'Neill's favorite ballparks to hit in. As you look at the manager of the Texas Rangers, it's Jeff Bannister, the reigning manager of the year in the American League. As he led the Texas Rangers to the Western Division title last year. They're exchanging the lineups. That baseball will be picked up in a few minutes by Cesar Ramos. And it'll be Ramos' first appearance in a Texas Rangers uniform. He was called up from the minor leagues. We mentioned Cole Hamels, the Rangers ace, out with a groin injury. I think he might only miss one start. He says he's had this before. Hamels, of course, one of the better pitchers in the league, and has won 11 straight decisions. So the Yankees are maybe kind of happy that he's not around. We mentioned it's a beautiful night for baseball. Let's check out the game time weather presented by Bigelow Tea. And you can see the flags blowing off in the distance here. 83 degrees. The wind at 13 miles per hour. Humidity 64%. And the forecast mostly cloudy and warm. And usually the Yankees show up. There's Cole Hamels. I'm sure he's hoping that he's back in there pretty soon. But what was it? It was 83 degrees. That's about 20+ degrees lower than it is when we usually come here in July. We got a break on the schedule this year, coming to Texas in April. And still it's warm at 83 degrees. There's Nathan Eovaldi, who's from the Houston area, so he's no stranger to this state of Texas. And he'll be doing the pitching for the Yankees tonight. Eovaldi, as you said, David, he's kind of coming on and trending in the right direction, as you put it.
Well, he's certainly figured out how to miss more bats. You know, the combination of that hard slider that he tweaked his grip on in spring training that brought the velocity up on that particular pitch, and then of course the splitter. We're always watching the splitter with Nathan Eovaldi. It's a swing and miss type pitch. You know, Eovaldi, there's still a lot of hope for him. You know, with that kind of arm and that kind of stuff, everybody's always talking about, can't we get a little more out of him? When's he going to turn the corner? And I think the Yankees feel like he's trending in the right direction, and he still has a very high ceiling in terms of potential and talent.
Well, we should mention the Yankees are playing 2 players short tonight. Aaron Hicks injured his shoulder trying to make a catch at Yankee Stadium on the recent homestand. Not injured enough to put on the DL, but he's not quite ready to go back in the lineup tonight. He did take some reps in the outfield before the game. And Alex Rodriguez tweaked a muscle in his side yesterday. And Joe Girardi, although I spoke to Alex last night at the hotel, and he said he wanted to play today, but you know Joe Girardi, he's not going to let him play today. So the Yankees are actually playing with a 2-man bench tonight. It's Brian McCann and Ronald Torreyes, and hopefully that Joe won't have to make too many changes as this game goes along, as the Rangers take the field to get this one started. There's Prince Fielder making an appearance at first base tonight. Usually he's been the designated hitter for the Texas Rangers. Let's check out the Yankees lineup, as always presented by Lexus. And very familiar at the top, Jacoby Ellsbury. He'll lead it off. Brett Gardner will bat second. And he has hit well in this ballpark. 5 home runs, 9 runs batted in to go along with a .333 batting average. The designated hitter tonight is Carlos Beltran. Batting cleanup, the first baseman Mark Teixeira. Starlin Castro has moved up to the 5th spot. He'll be at second. Chase Headley will be at third, followed by Dustin Ackley in right field. Didi Gregorius is at short, and Austin Romine will be doing the catching for the Yankees tonight.
You see the call up that Kenny mentioned, Ramos, Cesar Ramos, and Yankee fans will remember him as formerly Tampa Bay Ray in the bullpen down there. Actually made 1 start against the Yankees. And those are his numbers in AAA, as he was in line with Cole Hamels, so he got the call, and you got the feeling that the Rangers were going to find a lefty to come face the Yankees here. And obviously we said it's his Ranger debut. Had a good year last year as an Angel reliever out in Anaheim. 65 games, he had a 2.75 ERA, although he was not retained and signed by the Rangers on a minor league deal. And he's not a power guy. He's a sinker, slider guy, good ground ball rate, pretty decent slider, averages about 89 miles an hour with his fastball.
Well, his manager, Jeff Bannister, said we'll see how far he can go. He's been working in relief primarily down in the minor leagues. He was hoping he could at least go 5 and then turn it over to the bullpen. And we'll see what the Yankees can do with the veteran Cesar Ramos, who's only made 10 major league starts and 251 appearances in the major leagues. So he's not used to being on the mound for the Anthem. Just about ready to go. Ellsbury will step in. Had a 5-game hitting streak broken yesterday. And as you can see, 258 on the season. Wants to get that on-base percentage up a little higher. And we're ready for baseball here in Texas. And the first pitch is in there for a called strike. Ellsbury had an 8-for-31 homestand. Little bouncing ball foul, and quickly Ellsbury in the hole. No balls and 2 strikes. We were talking about Ramos. Originally, he was a #1 draft pick by the Padres out of Long Beach State. Curveball is popped up just beyond shortstop, and it's going to be Elvis Andrus who puts it away for out #1. Let's check out the rest of the Rangers defense presented by Geico. In the outfield, Ian Desmond's in left. Delino DeShields at center. The newcomer Nomar Mazara is in right. The veteran Adrian Beltre at third. You saw Andrus at short. Rougned Odor at second. Prince Fielder at first base. And Nicholas doing the catching for Cesar Ramos. Here's Gardner, and he had a very good homestand. 11-for-28 with a couple of home runs. Also scored 6 runs. And the first pitch is upstairs for ball 1. Gardner's also shown a good eye this early in the season. Walked 5 times on the recent homestand, and you can tell his on-base percentage is where everybody would like it to be if you're a hitter. 429. Been on base 43% of the time. That pitch is high, ball 2. 2 balls and no strikes. Calling balls and strikes tonight. The home plate umpire is Jim Reynolds. Manny Gonzalez at first. The crew chief fielding Colbreth will be at second, and C.B. Buckner making the calls around at third.
Yeah, Gardner more of a prototypical leadoff hitter style. Sees a lot of pitches, works a lot of walks.
Pops one up, and it's going to be back and out of play.
Jacoby Ellsbury, the leadoff hitter for the Yankees, much more aggressive, swings at a lot of early pitches. Although, as Yankee fans know, Brett Gardner's power has consistently gotten better year over year. A big walk-off home run at Yankee Stadium to give the Yankees a much-needed win at home after a tough homestand.
Yeah, that was on Saturday. 2 outs in the 9th inning. Hit one in the second deck at the stadium. Pitch is popped up. This one will be in play. The veteran third baseman Beltre is there, makes the catch, and it's 2 up and 2 down for the Yankees here in the first inning. And Ramos will face the #3 hitter, Carlos Beltran. Decent numbers, 4 home runs and 9 runs batted in for Beltran. Ramos deals, and it's swung on and fouled back. Strike 1. Beltran with 396 career home runs. 4 more, and he'll be the 3rd Puerto Rican ball player to have at least 400. And one of them played here for the Texas Rangers. Pitch to Beltran, and he pops one in the air to center field. Delino DeShields towards the gap, and he makes the catch for the final out. We'll let you know who those other 2 were that had 400 home runs from Puerto Rico.
Nathan Eovaldi taking his final warm-up tosses before he gets it underway in the bottom half of the first inning. Here's the lineup he'll be facing. Rougned Odor will lead it off for the Texas Rangers. Nomar Mazara, the rookie, only been up for a while. Adrian Beltran will be at third base. The cleanup hitter is Prince Fielder. And that's what he's done in his career against the Yankees in 26 games, 26 runs batted in. Ian Desmond signed late in spring training. He's the left fielder. Mitch Moore will be the DH tonight. Elvis Andrus will be at short. Brett Nicholas doing the catching. And Delino DeShields will be in center field. He's batting ninth.
See Nathan Eovaldi's ready to go. At the mound dug out. All of his warm-up pitches just about finished. You see on the year, just 3 walks and 22 strikeouts. ERA is a little bit bloated in the hits per innings as well. Although, as we said before, he's trending in the right direction. And check out the pitcher scouting report brought to you by your Tri-Honda dealers. And what we mean by that is, you know, the third start was better than the second, which was better than the first. We talked about at least 7 strikeouts in 7 consecutive starts, which ties a franchise record. That high-octane fastball, second only to Noah Syndergaard in the big leagues, averaging 97 miles an hour this year. And the finish line. Finish line means a lot of different things. You know, the finished product as a pitcher, finishing off innings, a lot of 2-strike hits still given up, a lot of 2-out innings. We've seen the Yankee pitchers, and Eovaldi included, a lot of damage with 2 strikes and 2 outs. And get across that finish line, finish off hitters.
Pitches inside to Odor, and it's a ball and a strike. Odor's been coming on of late. 309 last 15 games. Got off to somewhat of a rocky start, but he's driven in 13 runs. This ball is hit high in the air to right field. Ackley is there. Boy, had to wait a while for that to come down, and that's out number 1. Let's take a look at the Yankees defense, which is presented by Geico. Gardner in left, Ellsbury in center. You just saw Ackley in right. Headley, Gregorius, Castro, and Teixeira ran out the infield. Austin Romine doing the catching for Nathan Eovaldi. Ackley in right field tonight. Now, usually we've seen him with the Yankees in the infield, but when we saw him in Seattle, Coney, he was usually in the outfield, so he's no stranger to playing the outfield. Here's Nomar Mazara, the rookie, who's gotten off to such a great start. He's the youngest player in the major leagues. He turns 21 tomorrow, and some gaudy numbers there, hitting .356 with a couple of home runs, 6 runs batted in. And he fouls one back, and the count quickly moves to 0-2. Mazara had 12 hits in his first 7 major league games. Somebody must have reminded him there's no league higher than this one.
He doesn't want to go back to the minor leagues.
Made his major league debut in Anaheim on April 10th and went 3 for 4. That pitch is low, and it's a ball and 2 strikes.
The Rangers have several high-profile names on the disabled list, and Josh Hamilton is one of them too as well. And not sure when they're going to get him back, but for the time being, I'm going to watch this young kid play a little bit. And you can tell he's put together. He's got some bat speed, and he's got some power.
And Hamilton is currently in extended spring training. On the ground to second. Nice hop for Starlin Castro, who throws out Mazara, and that's out number 2.
Let's go ahead and give you the Jeep hitters scouting report on Adrian Beltre. You know, this guy's something else, Kenny. You know, we're both big fans of his, and you talk about standing the test of time, the truest test of all. And 2,502 games played at third base. There's only one third baseman in the history of the game that's done more, and that's Brooks Robinson, Kenny's old teammate, who had 2,870 games at third base. And Jaws 5th best. Jaws is a kind of a stat. You know, Jay Jaffe's a big sabermetrician, one of my favorites out there. He created this formula called Jaws, and he ranks Beltre as the 5th best third baseman of all time currently.
Wow.
According to his rankings, which includes defensive rankings, base running, and offensive rankings. Mike Schmidt, best third baseman of all time. Eddie Matthews, Wade Boggs, George Brett, and this guy, Adrian Beltre.
Hit hard. Nice backhand stop by Headley. The long throw across the diamond is right on the money. Beltre is retired. A 9-pitch inning for Nathan Eovaldi. No score at the end of 1 here in Texas. We'll be back in just a moment.
Meredith Morakovitz. It's time for tonight's injury report, brought to you by Montefiore, doing more in state-of-the-art healthcare. Alex Rodriguez, who exited yesterday's game early with an oblique issue, did have an MRI. It came back negative. Joe Girardi really indicated he'd like to stay away from Rodriguez today, but Kenny, as you mentioned, he said he's feeling much better today, so likely an option tomorrow. Aaron Hicks showing significant progress. He was in the outfield throwing today. Still a couple days from being an option for Joe Girardi. Brandon Pinder has decided that he is in fact going to have Tommy John surgery, so he has lost the entire 2016 season. And you saw James Caprillion, last year's first-round pick, had some elbow issues. He was sent back to New York for an MRI. He was evaluated by Dr. Ahmad. There's some inflammation in his right elbow, but there is no tear or anything, so he will be shut down and will eventually resume a throwing program. But guys, good news on Caprillion that it's nothing major.
Thank you very much, Meredith. You hate to see that at a young pitcher. Caprillion was off to a good start at Tampa, high A Tampa this year, and remember seeing him in spring training, Tony. He was quite impressive.
It's so early in the season too. He's got plenty of time to rest that elbow. The Yankees are obviously concerned a little bit, enough to put him on the DL, but not concerned to where he's in that dreaded Tommy John category that we heard about, Pinder, which is a big blow. Although Pinder was on the major league roster, so he gets major league benefits throughout the whole year.
This ball is looped in the air to left field. Coming on is Ian Desmond, who makes the catch for the out. As Castro is retired, Teixeira has to return to first base. Mark got things started with a base hit here in the second inning. Should be interesting to watch Desmond out in the outfield. He was a shortstop with the Washington Nationals and signed very late in spring training, February 29th. So it didn't give him much time to get acclimated to being an outfielder. Here's Chase Headley. Headley trying to get it untracked. 4 for 27 on the homestand. And the first pitch gets away, and Teixeira's headed for second. Here's a throw by Nicholas, and Teixeira's in there. Some heads-up base running as the ball scooted away from Brett Nicholas, the catcher. But Teixeira is now in scoring position. We'll see how they score this.
So Teixeira was actually breaking back off of Ramos's first move.
I thought that would be a pass ball. Looked like it was very catchable.
Only a pass ball. A good throw probably gets him too.
So Teixeira down at second base with one out. And 1 ball and no strikes to count on Headley. Headley just 1 for his last 17. Hits one hard. Look out, Joe Espada, the third base coach, had to jump out of the way. No harm, no foul. Speaking of that, I think the Mavs are playing tonight in the playoffs. Yeah. I think they're down 3-1. I don't know how much longer they'll be around. 1-1 to count on Headley. Back to baseball.
You're down 3-1. Boy, yeah, that's one. You play a series, a 1-game series. Just try to win tonight.
Teixeira taking a good lead off of second. And that pitch is upstairs. Headley ahead on the count once again. 2 balls and a strike.
Ramos's start in AAA this year. He was brought in, signed as a minor league free agent, stretched out as a starter, just threw 40 pitches in his last start, 4 1/3 innings. So the Yankees can push his pitch count up. It's going to be a night for the bullpen and the Rangers.
Next pitch lined into right field. It's going to be in there for a base hit. Mazara is up with it. They're going to hold Teixeira at third as Mazara throws all the way home, and the Yankees have runners on the corners with 1 out.
Nice job by Headley, staying on that pitch, almost off the corner. Looked like an off-speed changeup. So for Headley to be able to stay on that pitch and still drive it the other way, excellent hitting, and of course the right call by Teixeira to hold up at third.
As you mentioned, Ramos is not a hard thrower. He relies on movement, late movement. There's Teixeira at third base. Dustin Ackley gets the start against a left-hander tonight. and playing in right field. Yesterday, he actually pinch hit for Alex Rodriguez against the left-hander and got a hit. First career start in right field. Now, he's been in center, he's been in left. We saw that while he was with the Seattle Mariners. As we said, primarily with the Yankees, he's been at second base and at first base. First and third, one out. The Yankees are threatening here in the second inning. Swung on and missed, and it's a ball and a strike.
Letter high or above, certainly above the strike zone. Those are the ones that look really good. You can see Hackley's eyes light up trying to get on top of that pitch.
Swung on and missed, strike two. Now, Ramos has been around the block. We mentioned he was a #1 draft pick of the Padres. He's also pitched for the Rays, as David told you, with the Angels. He was on Team USA in 2004. And the U.S. won a gold medal in Taiwan that year. Fastball, curve, slider, and a change. Got all the pitches. One-two pitch, throw to third, and Teixeira just gets back. That was a set play.
Yeah, that's what Kenny's talking about. You can see Beltre breaking right away. This is a prearranged play, a signal, maybe a brush of the leg or some sort of signal that the catcher and Beltre had to put that play on. And well designed. Teixeira good to get back.
It's usually the third baseman who puts it on. 2-2 to count on Ackley. Pitches drilled deep to right field. This one is foul. Manny Gonzalez had a long look at it before signaling foul. And the Yankees are checking with Brett Weber to see if they should challenge this.
I think it was a ricochet off the facade that was deceptive here.
Let's take a look. Oh, did it hit the pole?
It looked like it hit the facade to the right of the pole and ricocheted back.
Yeah, I think you're right, David. Yep.
And that's what looks so deceiving, but
the Yankees will not challenge. A long foul ball off the bat of Ackley. Curveball well outside. The count is full. 3-2. See what the Yankees are thinking here with Henley at first base, who this year has stolen 3 bases without being caught. Didn't steal any bases last year. They might have him on the move to try and stay out of the double play. Let's see what happens. 7th pitch of the at bat coming. Henley's not going. And the pitch is outside, ball 4. And the Yankees have the bases loaded with 1 out.
good take. Down and away off the plate. Ackley, a good at bat. We saw right before this Jeff Bannister, the Texas manager, run down into the tunnel there. Probably going back to the video room to see where that pitch was, and it was a ball.
Too late now. What is he going to do about it? You can't argue balls and strikes anyway. Here's Gregorius. 6 for 32 on the homestand with a home run. Ramos working from the stretch. The pitch is in on the ground to fielder. He's going to come home. There's one. No return to first. The bases remain loaded, but now there's 2 outs. So Prince Fielder with a heads-up play coming home.
Didi Gregorius, first pitch swinging. Anywhere but the corners. As you see, that is an easy play for Prince Fielder to nab Teixeira at home plate. Prince Fielder playing in on the grass, right to him. Ramos has got to hit the deck to get out of the way.
This is Fielder's first start at first base this year. Previous 19 games, he'd been the designated hitter. So that'll leave it up to Austin Romine here in the second inning. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Romine hitting an even .250. And he'll take one downstairs for ball 1. Romine won the backup job in spring training, backing up Brian McCann. Had a good spring, hit the ball well. And defense has always been his forte. Pitch right back to Ramos. He's going to flip it underhand to fielder, and he's going to get out of it. So the Yankees failed to score despite loading the bases. At the end of 1.5, there's no score here in Texas. This conversation brought to you by Toyota. RAV4 Hybrid is the official hybrid vehicle of the Yankees, and the conversation goes something like this. Among major league prospects called up during this season, who are you most excited to see now and in the future? And D. Hursty, Nomar Mazara has enormous potential and already came up and impressed at the plate and in the field. Follow Yes Network and tweet us your responses using hashtag Yankees RAV4 Hybrid to keep the conversation going. Here's Prince Fielder, and Prince wears to bunt, but he takes it outside for ball one.
I don't think his heart was really in it.
Fielder's
a little eye wash there.
Yeah, a little eye wash, trying to get Headley's attention. Despite hitting just 181, Prince Fielder has 14 runs batted in on the season. Ground ball to the right side. Gregorius boots it. Castro comes up with it, and there'll be no play. That is going to be an E6 to get it started for the Yankees defensively here in the second.
A couple things come to mind, Kenny. Prince Fielder hits the ball hard with a lot of spin. You can see that ball really take off and jump up at Didi Gregorius, but also maybe taking your offense and your at-bat out to the field with you a little bit too. And you see that look right there, brought to you by Yesmo and the Mercedes-Benz dealers. And that ball had a lot of topspin on it, so I didn't make a lot of plays like that in my day, but you know, it is easy to get distracted too when you came up with the bases loaded and you grounded out the first in your last at-bat.
Here's Ian Desmond, and he hits it hard. This could be two. Gregorius to Castro to Teixeira. There's your double play. 6-4 to 3. Desmond jumping on the first pitch, hit it right at Gregorius, who got a redeemer. That's what they call it, a redeemer. Right away, he's tested again. It comes up big time.
Indeed, the great redeemer. Tailor-made double play, one pitch and 2 outs. Something Derek Jeter used to say to me, Kenny, and whenever he'd make an error behind me, which was rare, he'd say, hit it to me again. Make him hit it to me again. That was one of the great qualities of Derek Jeter, and Didi Gregorius following suit right there. Got him to hit it to him again and turned it.
Here's Mitch Moreland. And he's usually the first baseman. Tonight he's a designated hitter. Had a 1-for-12 series in Chicago. The White Sox swept the Rangers over the weekend in Chicago. The White Sox are getting some pretty good pitching. That pitch is in there for a strike. 1-1 on Moreland.
I think Chris Sale with the White Sox is off to a great start. He might actually have that big year that everybody's been looking for.
White Sox a half game late on Kansas City in the Central. Sox are off to a 13-6 start. They've won that 3 in a row. Texas lost 3 in a row. That pitch is low. Splitter in the dirt. 2 balls and a strike. If you're just joining us, no score here in Texas. We're in the bottom of the 2nd inning. Ken Singleton, David Cohn, Meredith Marakovitz bringing it to you from deep in the heart of Texas. Next pitch is hit high in the air to center field. Who's going to make this play? Looks like Ellsbury's calling for it. He does, and that'll do it for the Texas Rangers. The Yankees top of the order will be coming up here at the top of the 3rd inning. Don't want to miss this. Drop the Yes Network. Comcast customers will miss the entire Yankee season on Yes. There are other TV providers that carry Yes, including DirecTV, Frontier, PlayStation View, Verizon Fios, and Sling TV. Don't miss any Yankee games on Yes. For more information, go to keepyesnetwork.com. Right now, we're going to the 3rd inning as Jacoby Ellsbury takes a pitch downstairs for ball 1. Ellsbury popped out to short to lead off the ball game. Ramos misses with a pitch outside for ball 2. 2 balls and no strikes. Last April, Ellsbury got off to a great start. 27 hits in the month of April and 8 stolen bases. Outside ball 3. Now he has 5 stolen bases this year. He's among the league leaders. And he's a pitch away from getting on base right here. Only the second 3-ball count for Ramos. That one's poured in there for a strike, and it's 3-1.
5 stolen bases, 1 of home plate too. So that ought to count. That ought to count for more than 1 when you're still home.
Exciting play. 3-1 pitch on the way, and he hits a high fly ball to right field. Mazzaro going back, still going back. This one is gone. A home run for Jacoby Ellsbury, and the Yankees jump out to a 1-0 lead. That ball kept carrying and carrying, and when you watch the outfielder give up, you know he's not going to catch it. First home run of the year for Jacoby Ellsbury.
You could just tell by the way Mazzaro turned and just kind of glided back that he knew. And the right fielder knows he's usually the first one, unless Ellsbury kind of still watching. So I'm not sure Ellsbury knew either. He certainly got all of it. The thing about the ballpark here in Arlington is always there's that jet stream right in that area right there to right center. We've noticed a lot of balls. It looks like the wind's blowing in center. But it always carries right over the Ranger bullpen there. That part of the park right there has always been a jet stream in this ballpark. When you get it there, it usually goes.
Yankees lead 1-0, 1-0 count on Brett Gardner, who popped out third. He's working on an 0 for 1. Hits it hard, but foul down the first base side. Tough play for the ball girl. She couldn't handle it. It's going to be Mazzaro who gets it back in. You mentioned Gardner had a heck of a homestand. Hit a couple home runs, including the walk-off against the Tampa Bay Rays. 11 for 28. The 1-1 pitch. Foul tipped into the glove of Nicholas. Strike 2. Well, you got to believe the weather's starting to warm up in the New York area and in the Northeast, and sometimes that's when the hitters start to warm up too. Played was a cold game, that Detroit series. I'm glad I didn't have to go. You were there, right?
Yes, I was. We got a snow day, literally a snow day there.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Ramos picks up his first strikeout. First down for the Yankees here in the third inning.
Designated hitter Carlos Beltran.
Here's Beltran. Who is tied with Ted Simmons on the all-time switch hit list. 2,472 hits. And he'll take a pitch in there for a strike. That's 10th on the all-time switch hit list.
Closing in on 400 homers, as you had mentioned before, too, and one of the great players ever from the island of Puerto Rico.
Yeah, I should mention the other two are ahead of him. That pitch is in there, I should say, inside for ball. Carlos Delgado, 473 home runs, and Juan Gonzalez, 434. Of course, Gonzalez was an MVP here with the Texas Rangers. The pitch is fouled off, so Beltran trying to become the third ball player from Puerto Rico to reach 400 home runs.
A pretty good middle of the lineup on a WBC team, huh? That lineup. Imagine Beltran, Gonzalez, and Delgado.
And that misses inside. 40th pitch coming up next for Ramos. 2-2 count on Beltran. And Gonzalez used to be known as Juan Gon around here. Curveball misses and the count runs full at 3-2. Payoff pitch is on the way, and it's ball 4. He missed inside. Beltran reaches with 1 out. Here we go. That's what we were talking about. Carlos Delgado, 473. Great start with the Toronto Blue Jays. Juan Gonzalez here with the Texas Rangers. And Carlos Beltran, 396. He's knocking on the door.
Some high back elbows, both Delgado and Gonzalez, right?
And drop the hammer. Here's Teixeira, who dropped the hammer on a base hit in the second inning. Teixeira, originally a #1 draft pick of these Texas Rangers back in 2001 out of Georgia Tech. When he first came up, he was a third baseman. Outside for a ball. And it's 1-1. Only took Teixeira 2 years to get to the big leagues. And when he got there, he was ready to stay. Hit 26 home runs his first year. Drove in 84 runs. He was on his way. Pitches hit high in the air. The deep right center field. On the move with the Shields. Still on the move. He won't get this one. It's up against the 407-foot sign. Beltran's the third. He's being waved home. Here comes the throw to the plate. He will score. And it's 2-0 Yankees. Mark Teixeira with a run-scoring double. Scores Beltran all the way from first base. And the Yankees have scored twice here in the third inning.
Teixeira drives this ball a long way, and Beltre ran fairly well. We remember seeing Beltre last year kind of struggle in the outfield with his mobility. Certainly moving much better this year. Scores pretty easily on that double from Teixeira. Get another look here off of first base. That ball was driven hard into the gap, just enough to the right by Teixeira to get in what we said before is that jet stream. You get it just enough to right center, the ball just seems to keep carrying, one hopping the 407 sign. By this time, Beltre is already around third. He's going to score easily.
That is the deepest part of the ballpark, 407. So Teixeira's at second with one out. And it'll bring up Starlin Castro, who flied out to left field his first time. And he'll take one just off the corner for ball one. By the way, that was Teixeira's first double of the season. To go along with 3 home runs. Inside, ball 2. 2 balls and no strikes. Chase Headley's on deck. The Yankees have broken through for 2 runs here in the third inning, and they're threatening for more.
After the disappointment in the first inning, leaving the bases loaded, not getting anything to show for it, bouncing right back here.
Pitching coach Doug Brocale is coming out to talk to Ramos and Nicholas. Maybe giving him a chance to catch his breath. Long-time pitching coach here. Mike Maddox has moved on. He's now with the Washington Nationals and working for Dusty Baker. And they're off to a good start in Washington. They're 14-4 coming into today.
Yeah, he got a nice offer by the Nats to go up there and work with a very talented pitching staff.
Ball is popped up. See if this stays in play. It's Cecil. It's Prince Fielder who makes the catch for the out. And there are 2 down. Of course, Cecil was Prince's dad. So Castro looked like he tried to do too much with that pitch. He overswung, and when you do that, you end up being late. Sees it. 2-0 pitch. Man, I'm going to hit this 9 miles. Straight up to Silo. So Teixeira remains at second. Here's Headley, who did have a base hit in the second inning. Grounded one through the right side. All-speed pitch drops in there nicely for a call strike. The Yankees have gotten 4 hits here, and we're in the third inning. Next pitch, broken bat on the fly, caught by Beltre, and that'll do it for the Yankees in the third inning. But the leadoff man got the leadoff run in this ball game. Jacoby Ellsbury on a 3-1 pitch makes it 1-0 Yankees. They scored another. Move to the bottom of the third. Time to check out the Honda League leaders and in batting average. Manny Machado off to a good start for the Orioles. Mark Trumbo, another Orioles, second. Ian Kinsler of the Tigers, Melky Cabrera of the White Sox, and Elvis Andrus, who's taking his first turn at bat, hitting .333 as he steps in. He's got 11 runs batted in. Slick fielding shortstop. He's hit .370 in 9 games. Eovaldi now with a 2-run lead deals a strike as we're underway here in the bottom of the third. Next pitch, foul back. Andrus is in the hole, 0-2. He likes to hit night games. He's hitting 10 of his last 11 night games. There's some players just seem to hit better at night. I liked hitting at night better than I did in the day. First of all, it's cooler.
I like pitching during the day better.
The 0-2 pitch. Ooh, look out, up and in. A ball and 2 strikes. David, we were talking about that before the game, weren't we?
Well, we were. We're talking about Nathan Eovaldi trying to pitch in, and especially the right-handed batters, getting that inside corner, also making hitters uncomfortable. That's
uncomfortable. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Couldn't reach that outside pitch. And that's Eovaldi's first strikeout of the night.
Oh, right off of the brushback pitch comes the nasty splitter down and away. Up and in and down and away. He's worked for about 150 years.
Eovaldi is doing a good job of keeping his pitch count down. He had 9 in the first inning, 8 in the second inning. Let's see what happens here in the third. Here's Brett Nicholas, the catcher. And that pitch is in there for a strike. The Rangers have already had an injury to a catcher. Robinson Chirinos was hit by a pitch and suffered a fractured forearm, and he's going to be in DL for a while. That pitch misses. Ball and a strike.
Well, we mentioned the disabled list for the Rangers. Shin Chu on that list as well.
Calf injury.
Yu Darvish, you mentioned before.
We saw Darvish before the game. Swinging him in a strike 2. Darvish is about ready to go out on a rehab assignment. So I think the Rangers are looking at him coming back maybe early June. And certainly he'd be a big addition to the Rangers starting rotation if he could come back. He's, of course, coming back from Tommy John surgery. A ball and 2 strikes on Nicholas. Did he go? Yes, he did, said C.B. Buckner, the third base umpire. Back-to-back strikeouts for Eovaldi to get it going here in the third inning.
It's another splitter from Eovaldi, and the swing just a little too far as Moreland tries to play it off very nicely, but that splitter more side-to-side action there, fading and down.
That one tumbled.
Yes, your favorite song.
Yeah, tumbling dice. Here's Delino DeShields. And the first pitch is outside, ball 1. Delino DeShields Jr., son of the former second baseman, the Montreal Expos and the Dodgers. That pitch is in there for a strike. His dad was a left-handed hitter. Wasn't quite as stocky as his son.
Good player, good second baseman.
Great speed. 1 ball, 1 strike on Delino DeShields Jr. Inside, ball 2. His dad was, oh, here we go, 13 major league seasons. Montreal, the Dodgers, St. Louis, Baltimore, and the Cubs. First round draft pick of the Expos. That's in there for a strike, and it's 2-2.
Delino was a good player. I don't think he was Pedro Martinez good, but that was a heck of a trade.
Yeah.
What were the Dodgers thinking about?
Check swing, foul ball. Count remains 2 balls and 2 strikes. They were thinking that Pedro wasn't big enough to stand up to the rigors of being a starting pitcher. And I think part of the problem was his brother Ramon was on the Dodgers when Pedro was there. His older brother was much bigger. So they were thinking, well, we'll trade Pedro. We'll keep Ramon, who was a pretty good pitcher. Ball hit on the ground to the right side. Castro has it. Going to be a nice 1-2-3 inning. for Nathan Eovaldi. That'll be it for the Rangers. We played 3. The Yankees are up by 2. Watch the games on TV. You can now stream games live on your mobile device. If you're a DirecTV, Optimum, or Time Warner Cable subscriber, just go to your app store and download the free Fox Sports Go app. Log in and stream the Yankees wherever you go. We're going to the top of the 4th inning. Dustin Ackley will take a pitch over the outside corner for a strike on our Audi scoreboard. The Yankees lead 2-0. Scored 2 runs last inning, a home run by Ellsbury, a solo shot, and a run-scoring double by Mark Teixeira. Curveball, and that drops in there for a strike. 0-2. Ramos ahead of Ackley. He's got Gregorius and Romine to follow here in the 4th. Ackley wouldn't bite. A ball and 2 strikes. Outfield pulled around to right for Ackley. He doesn't get that one. And he's a strikeout victim. Second strikeout for Cesar Ramos.
Ramos pulls the string on a 72-mile-an-hour curveball. Gets it down below the zone, and Ackley over the top.
So 1 down for Didi Gregorius, who came up with the bases loaded in the 1st inning, or make that 2nd inning, and forced Mark Teixeira at home. And that is over the outside corner for a call strike. We were talking about players hitting at night and in the day. Didi this year's hit 107 in day games, but he's hit almost 400 in night games. Biorhythms. I think that's what it is. 1-1 on Gregorius. He and Castro turned a nice double play in the 2nd. Hit hard and through in the right field for a base hit. So Gregorius comes up with a single. That nighttime average going up a bit. He's 1 for 2 tonight.
Well, that's the one he was looking for in the last at bat with the bases loaded. This time he hits it harder, gets it by Prince Fielder.
Here comes Austin Romine, who grounded right back to Ramos in the 2nd inning for the 3rd out. Brian McCann getting the night off against a left-hander. Gregorius with a comfortable lead at first. Pitch is in there for a call strike. I mentioned the weather 83 degrees tonight at game time. Very comfortable evening. Throw over the first, but we understand tomorrow might not be so comfortable around here. The weather report is not a particularly good one. But that's tomorrow. Tonight we're okay. Yankees up 2-0 in the fourth inning, 1 on and 1 out. Swing and a miss on a changeup, and it's 0-2.
Forgot my raincoat, Jim.
You know what? I did pack mine, and the only reason I did was because we're going to Boston. You never know what's going to happen up there. Off-speed pitch hit on the ground. It threw into left field for a base hit. Romine stayed with that off-speed pitch and grounded it into left field, and the Yankees have 2 on and 1 out. Romine with his first hit of the night.
Center fielder Jacoby Ellsbury.
Another bounce back at bat for the bottom of the Yankees order. Both Gregorius and Romine had a shot in the first inning, or early in this game, their first at bats rather, and bases loaded. Now redemption, setting the stage for Ellsbury in the top of the order here.
Ellsbury 1 for 2. Led off the ball game by popping out to shortstop. That was in the first inning. Came up again in the third, leading off the inning, and went deep on the 3-1 pitch over the Rangers bullpen and into the seats for his first home run of the season. Two on, 1 out. The pitch is hit on the ground towards the middle. Odor has it. Flips to Andres on the fielder. And this time the Yankees do not score. A 4-6-3 double play. The Yankees will leave a runner. But at the end of 3.5, as the Rangers turn this one over, the Yankees lead 2-0. Stadium on Tuesday, May the 10th, when the Yankees take on the Royals. The first 18,000 guests 21 and older will receive a Yankees Dunkin' Donuts card preloaded with $2. For tickets, log on to Yankees.com, visit Yankee Stadium ticket windows, Yankee Clubhouse shops, or call Ticketmaster at 877-469-9849. Bottom of the fourth. Well, we got some Yankee fans on hand. Our Audi scoreboard, 2-0 Yankees. Nathan Eovaldi has faced the minimum over 3 innings. Back to the top of the order. Moved that Odor. Slow curveball drops in there nicely for a call strike. Odor flew out to right field and Dustin Ackley in the first inning. Splitter fouled off and it's 0-2. We mentioned that Eovaldi's faced the minimum hitters over 3 innings. Prince Fielder did reach on an error, but he was erased on a double play on the very next pitch. He and Desmond, next batter, rounded into a 6-4-3 double play. Eovaldi has a couple of strikeouts as he works here in the 4th inning. This ball's hit high and deep to right field, but this one is twisting foul. Odor out in front. Odor was with the Rangers at the beginning of last year. They eventually sent him to the minor leagues, and when he came back, he was a different player. The demotion to AAA was like a wake-up call. And he's been one of the most productive second basemen since. Ball hit in the air to center. Ellsbury drifting back. He's there. Makes the catch. 1 down here in the 4th. We talked about the splitter and how it moves.
And Nathan Eovaldi with the splitter. You see this not split too wide. You get rotation on that pitch and just sinking and diving. Fade both side to side and downward tilt on that pitch. Just perfect.
It's almost like a knuckleball in the way it reacts. Of course, knucklers aren't thrown that hard.
Well, that's the thing about the splitter. You see the grip. It's not a forkball. It's not split too wide. That way it stays more in the category of a split finger fastball, which retains velocity, retains a little rotation, as opposed to a forkball or a knuckleball, which is designed to take rotation off of the ball and make it move more, but you also lose velocity that way.
Nomar Mazara. And the rookie takes it low. Ball 2. 2 balls and no strikes. Just 21 years old. Just 20 years old. He'll be 21 tomorrow. We mentioned that. Off to a good start in his major league career. Kind of an open stance. Watch that late close. And he takes a pitch over the outside corner for a strike. From the Dominican Republic, Santo Domingo. 3-1. 97-mile-per-hour fastball. Ball is fouled off to the left, and now the count is full of 3-2.
Pretty good swing, but late on the Eovaldi fastball.
And Mazara was off to a great start in the minor leagues this year at AAA Round Rock. First 12 at bats, he had 6 hits and 4 runs batted in. The 3-2 pitch, and it's low for ball 4. Time to check out tonight's Cold Hard Facts, brought to you by Clean, Crisp, Coors Light. Alex Rodriguez leading all major league hitters in hits. Ichiro is next. Adrian Beltre, followed by Albert Pujols and Carlos Beltran. Some big time hitters on that list.
Ichiro was going to make it, it looks like. You know, there's a couple years ago when he was with the Yankees, we weren't sure if he would get the at-bats to get there. Of course, Alex already there. Beltre got a couple more years on his extension recently, so he might get there as well. We mentioned that in our hitter scout report brought to you by Jeep earlier in the game on Beltre. A 2-year, $36 million extension. Take him through the next 2 years after this year. Pretty easy deal for the Texas Rangers to get done. Beltre loves it here.
Mentioned 416 career home runs. Started every game at third base this year. That hits the corner first strike. Very entertaining player. Solid defensively. He's won 4 Gold Gloves. Had a 6-game hitting streak broken yesterday.
It's a true two-way player. Great defense, great offense for 19 years now.
He's not made an error this year, at least thus far. The 1-1 pitch, and it's fouled off to the right. And last year, talk about players being tough. He's hit for the cycle 3 times, 4 Gold Gloves, 4-time All-Star. That's what he did with the Dodgers in 04 before becoming a free agent. That's a good year to hit 48 homers. And talk about players being tough. He played with a torn ligament in his thumb last year.
Valuable leadership in the clubhouse. Beltre clearly the leader in there, the go-to guy.
Yeah, a lot of respect from the younger players on this team, in particular Elvis Andrus, who plays shortstop. They're like a older brother, younger brother situation. Pitch is on the way, swung on it, foul back for the screen. In fact, it wasn't too long ago that Andrus hit a ball that he thought was going to be a home run, and it didn't get out of the ballpark, and he eventually scored, and everybody's high-fiving him as he comes in, except for Beltre. He just stood there and stared at him like, you should have run harder. That pitch misses, and the count runs to 2-2.
There's a lot of ways to define whether a player is a Hall of Famer or not. You know, I mentioned Jay Jaffe and the Jaws rankings, and there's a lot of different ways, old school, new school. But this guy has had a Hall of Fame career in my book.
2-2 pitch, full count. Now, Eovaldi hasn't had to work much from the stretch so far tonight, with Prince Fielder looming. Second full count, and both of them this inning for Nathan Eovaldi. Mazara has some speed. He hasn't stolen a base in the major leagues yet. Let's see what's happening here. He's going. Pitch is fouled off. Here's what I was talking about with Andrus. He was kind of styling. He thought it was out of the ballpark, but it didn't get out. And he had to hustle, pump it up to get a double. And you can see Beltre, what are you doing? That's the way my dad used to look at me.
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing.
Runners going. This ball's hit well in left field. Gardner going back. Still back on the warning track, makes a catch for the out. Mazara's going to have to hustle to get back at first base. Obviously, that is not the jet stream out to left field. That's out number 2.
We'll watch Dad out of the box. Does he Cadillac and watch it a little bit? It's a courtesy effort.
I think he knew it was going to be caught. That's why.
Nowhere to go, saving the legs. But it is remarkable here in this ballpark how, you know, that certain parts of the ballpark the ball does not carry. To left field tonight, it looks like the wind's blowing in. To right center, we saw Ellsbury's ball take off, and to Scher's double as well. And looks like that's what he's talking about right there as well. Beltre, the wind knocked that one down.
Pitch to Prince Fielder is ball 1. I think what happens, Coney, they say that the wind comes over the center field and kind of whirls around the ballpark and goes back out to right field. Even though the wind on the top of the scoreboard in right field, flags are blowing in, the wind's really going the other way.
Exactly. It kind of comes in and swirls around the big upper deck here.
Prince Fielder fouls one off, a ball and a strike.
And the configuration of the ballpark with the luxury suites out in center field too, and the big signs and scoreboard, it's fully enclosed here, so it kind of lends itself to that swirling wind all the way around.
Do you like pitching here?
Comes in this way, the wind can come in and swirl all the way out that way. And that's the jet stream we're talking about to right center.
1-1 pitch is on the way, and it's fouled off down the left field side. Do you like pitching here?
It's a tough ballpark to pitch in, without a doubt. And the Rangers have always had a good offensive club. And back in the 90s, it seems like we were playing them every year in the playoffs.
Yeah.
This Pudge Rodriguez and Juan Gonzalez, and Dean Palmer, and they had some guys who could hit the ball a long way.
Rafael Palmeiro.
Palmeiro was certainly in that mix as well.
Throw to first. Mazara is back. Of course, you had Paul O'Neill and Burton. Derek. O'Neill mentioned it the other day. This is one of his favorite ballparks to hit in.
It's one thing pitchers always have to keep in mind. It's your offense likes it too. Your guys like hitting here too.
Swing and foul tip and held. No, it wasn't. Now remains a ball and 2 strikes.
Another nasty splitter from Nate down in the dirt.
That might have been the best one of the night.
Apparently Prince just got a piece of it.
Well, Joe Girardi's going to come out. He wants an explanation from Jim Reynolds. And maybe have him ask C.B. Buckner.
It's strictly a call on sound. There's no way you could see that. You're going just by what you hear. The home plate umpire, and there's no way, it's a hard thing to check too. I mean, how can you tell whether he actually tipped that baseball or not? We can't even tell in slow motion right here. Maybe he's going on sound. Maybe he heard the ball hit the dirt. That was the sound he heard. There's just no way to know.
Line drive over first and foul. It was played by the ball girl. We're going to try and listen to that. See what we hear, Tony. And you at home. There was a double click there.
Yeah, you could definitely hear something. Great audio work right there.
Oh, yeah.
And that's all you go by on that call. The umpire is going by a distinctive sound that you hear. It sounds like wood. Even just a splinter off the end. A foul tip.
Went upstairs and he fouled it back. We mentioned the fact that Prince Fielder has 14 runs batted in, despite the fact he's hitting under 200. And the reason is because he's had more men on base than anybody in the league.
Good job by Eovaldi. A couple of things. We've seen him knock a batter down. Elvis Andres up and in to a righty and moving the ball up the ladder for Eovaldi, up above the letters.
Swung on it, missed, strike 3. He got it. 3rd strikeout of the night for Nathan Eovaldi. Gets him out of the 4th inning. The end of 4. The Yankees have the lead. It's 2-0. course, Bob and Jack are back in the studio, and they'll be on the WB Mason post-game show. Yankees leading 2-0 here in the top of the 5th inning on our Cadillac scoreboard. Brett Gardner's going to lead it off. He's popped up, struck out. He's 0 for 2. Gardner, Beltran, and Teixeira for the Yankees here in the 5th. First pitch in there for a call strike. I would think, even though the Rangers are down 2-0, Jeff Bannister, the manager, has to be pretty happy with the way that Ramos has performed. His first ever appearance in a Texas Ranger uniform. And that pitch is in there, strike 2. He was hoping he could get 5 from the lefty, and then turn it over to the bullpen. He's only had 1 start at AAA, mostly working out of the bullpen at Round Rock.
Yeah, just his 11th career major league start. Over 250 relief appearances.
Tried to get Gardner to go across the plate. Wouldn't bite. The count is 1-2.
A lot of sliders, a lot of curves. Occasional changeup. And about an 88, 89 mile-an-hour fastball. But well located.
Foul back. 89 on that one. We do have a good Monday night crowd here in Arlington. The 1-2 pitch. Breaking ball. Did he go? No, they're going to appeal, but it's denied by C.B. Buckner. That 2-2 pitch. Popped in the air, and this one looks like it's headed for the seats. Yes, it's going to be a souvenir. This is the first game of a 3-game series, a 9-game road trip for the Yankees. They go from here to Boston, and from Boston to Baltimore.
A very important road trip in this young season so far, as the Yankees now 7-10 on the season. Felt like they caught a break because Cole Hamels missed this start. As Kenny said, Ramos just called up to fill in.
Called, strike 3. Gardner caught looking. Right now we're going to go back to the studios, and Bob Lorenz with an update.
Designated Carlos Beltran.
Thanks, Bob. You get the feeling it was just a matter of time before Miguel Cabrera would erupt, and tonight seems to be the night. There's a Cole Hamels as the first pitch to Beltran misses for ball 1. And you mentioned the Yankees might have caught a break. Hamels has won 11 straight decisions going back to last year. That's inside ball 2 to Beltran. Beltran's flied out and walked. A lot of people, when Hamels was traded from the Phillies to Texas Rangers, they thought, well, it's going to be for this year. Actually, the Rangers rallied and won the division, and Hamels led him to the division. The 2-0 pitch, and it's hit on the ground, foul.
And he's continued this year to pitch very well up until being scratched from this night and this start.
And we saw Jake Arrieta throw that no-hitter the other day. The only time Arrieta's lost in his last 24 starts was to Cole Hamels, who threw a no-hitter to beat him. Right back to Ramos. The ball went right in his glove. 2 outs. Beltran's retired. So 2 up and 2 down to bring up Mark Teixeira, who's had a good night so far. He's already 2 hits, a single, and a booming double to the gap in right center that scored Beltran all the way from first base for the Yankees' second run. It appears that Tex is beginning to heat up with the weather. Now, this is a stare down right here. And it's Ramos who breaks down and backs off the rubber.
You can hear Billy Martin on the bench saying, "Get a walkie-talkie." I wonder if you'll ever be like the quarterbacks in the NFL, where you could have like a headset, you know, from the pitcher.
It can't be that hard to put the fingers down and look at.
He's only got 4 pitches.
Okay. Teixeira hits one in the air to right field. Mazara coming on over towards the line, and it's a 1-2-3 inning. There's Cesar Ramos on to the bottom of the 5th. Yankees lead it.
He's up 2-0. Nate Eovaldi's living up to his nickname, Nasty Nate. Split finger fastballs, and it's not a finesse pitch. It's not a changeup. You split it and you throw it as hard as you can. Nate can throw it in the upper 80s, low 90s. That's why you call it a split finger fastball. And it has been diving and darting and very effective, as Eovaldi here ready to pitch in the 5th inning. Only 1 base runner via the walk that was erased by a quick double play.
Here's Ian Desmond, who wrapped into a double play on Cadillac scoreboard. Yankees up 2-0, bottom of the 5th. Desmond had 3 hits yesterday in Chicago when the Rangers lost. Hits in there for a call strike, 1-1. You mentioned he signed with the Rangers on February 29th. There was a lot of people out there thinking, why is this guy not have a job? Good splitter, swung on it, missed strike 2. And prior to this season, he had only played 2 games in the outfield, but that's his job with the Rangers. They already have Andrus here. So it was getting late. He says, I'll play anywhere. Outside, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
There was a time in Washington where he was offered a big deal to stay there for multiple years and turned it down.
Now he's working on a 1-year deal here in Texas. That's upstairs. The count is full, 3-2.
Yep, all the way a race to the bottom and trying to rebuild his value. Still a fantastic athlete with a lot of talent. But as Kenny said, he's now an outfielder.
3rd time a full count for Eovaldi, and this pitch is swung on it, missed strike 3. He gets Desmond. 4 strikeouts now for Eovaldi. What'd you say, David? He needs 7 to keep the streak going?
Yes, he's another splitter. Eovaldi had 7 consecutive starts of at least 7 strikeouts, and you see that one was a little funky looking. As on 3-2, he wants to kind of try to get it in the strike zone if necessary. Anytime you throw an off-speed pitch on 3-2, you'll want it to be a strike in case the hitter doesn't swing and take it. And Eovaldi kind of floated that one in there.
Fastball is inside to Mitch Moreland. Moreland flied out to center field to end the 2nd inning. Nathan Eovaldi from Alvin, Texas, just outside of Houston. Tonight working in the northern part of the state. That pitch is outside for a ball. It's a 4-hour drive from Arlington down to Houston from here. So I'm sure he's got some relatives watching him pitch. That pitch is in their first strike, 2-1. As we all know, Nolan Ryan from Alvin, Texas. Swing and a miss, strike 2. 2-2. Eovaldi fighting back from a 2-0 count.
Yeah, 2 of the hardest throwing starting pitchers in the history of the game have come from Alvin, Texas. Go figure.
The 2-2 pitch, swung on it, missed, strike 3, ball in the dirt. Romine gets an angle. It'll throw him out. That goes as a strikeout. 2-3 on the putout, and that is strikeout number 5 for Nathan Eovaldi.
Well, it's another splitter, and this one down and diving hard, and Moreland waving at it. Cannot hold off of that pitch. The splitter, it looks like it's a fastball right there, and then the hitter commits, and the next thing you know, the ball's in the dirt, and you have no chance.
And Nolan Ryan wore a couple of numbers when he was pitching, number 34 and number 30. And there's a reason why Eovaldi wears number 30. Nolan wore 34 here in Arlington with the Rangers. That pitch is in there for a call strike. 7 no-hitters for Nolan Ryan. That was part of one of them on the wrong end. His pitch is popped up. Gregorius calling for it, and it's going to be a 1-2-3 inning for Nathan Eovaldi. Last year in Houston, there he is, the legend on the left, Nolan Ryan, and maybe a legend in the making on the right. Yes, the Yankees take on the Rangers in Game 2 of this series. Coverage begins at 7 with the Audi batting practice today and the Chevy pregame. And we're back here in Arlington for the call only on Yes and streaming live on Fox Sports Go.
Hey, Will Ferrell's here tonight.
Former President George Bush and his wife Laura here tonight enjoying the ball game.
Oh,
that's who it is, Coney. Here's Starlin Castro who take a pitch in there for a call strike. Castro working on an 0 for 2. He's fly to left and fouled out. Yankees up 2-0 here in the 6th inning. And that pitch is fouled back to the screen. Castro's not going to let many go by. And he's behind on the count. No balls and 2 strikes. Castro, Headley, Ackley for the Yankees. Here in the 6th. This ball's hit well to left field. Going back is Desmond near the wall. Looks up. And this one is gone. A home run for Starlin Castro on an 0-2 pitch. And the Yankees lead 3-0. That one kind of turned the wind around.
Indeed.
It just made it.
Yeah, you're not supposed to have swings like that on 0-2 pitches. Castro mashes this pitch. Supposed to be inside. Leaves it up and out just enough for Castro to cut him off at the pass.
His 3rd home run of the year. Here's Chase Headley, who was single in line to 3rd, bouncing ball towards the middle. Andrus showing great range, strong arm, and he gets him. Headley robbed of a hit on a great play by Elvis Andrus.
You can almost see the disbelief on Headley's face, and we've seen Andrus do this before. Remarkable range at shortstop.
And a nice pick by Prince Fielder for the putout. Here's Dustin Ackley. Ackley's walked and struck out. He's got a no contact night going. That pitch is in there for a call strike. Texas bullpen's getting busy. Looks like they got a right-hander up in the pen. That pitch is low, and it's 1-1 to Ackley. So the Yankees with a couple of solo shots tonight. It's Phil Klein warming up in the pen. Ackley takes a good swing and fouls it back. This replay brought to you by New York Presbyterian, the official hospital of New York Yankees. Amazing things are happening here. Amazing things happening at shortstop. Tried to check, goes around, and Ackley has struck out for the 2nd time. That's 2 down here in the 6th. 4th strikeout for Cesar Ramos.
Couple of home runs notwithstanding, the Rangers got a lot more than they bargained for from Ramos so far tonight.
Jeff Bannister talking it over with Doug Brocail. What they might do after this inning. Pitch is swung on and missed by Gregorius, who has reached on the fielder's choice and had a solid single to right field. Yankees 3, Rangers nothing here in the top of the 6th inning. Swing and a miss. Strike 2. He had faraway places on his mind. ED has hit a couple of home runs this year. Defensively, the Rangers are straight away on the Yankee shortstop. That's the way they drew it up years ago. Foul tip. I don't think there were many shifts back in the 1850s. In fact, they were telling people, you play shortstop today, and they would say, what's that? Or where is it? Gregorius behind on the count, 0-2. And he holds up. A ball and 2 strikes.
Probably a lot of small ball back then, right? Bunts. Until Babe Ruth came along.
Well, you know what? Everything was all new. So the first guy who ever said bunt, I guess it stuck. Stolen base. What's that? Another check swing foul ball. Now, I just read where the original rules of baseball were sold, what, for over $3 million?
Yes, I was just thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, at auction.
At an auction.
Somebody drew it up. Yes, base pass 90 feet. The actual design and original layout of all the rules.
Another foul ball, and this catches a piece of Gregorius, and that is self-inflicted. No pain like self-inflicted pain.
Looks like instep area.
I wonder if there was a diagram and all that sort of thing of the diamond.
That's the amazing part. The whole 90 feet they've passed was perfectly designed.
Curveball swung on and missed. Strike 3. That'll do it for the Yankees. But they do pick up another run in the 6th inning. Leading off the inning was Starlin Castro. And this is well hit. And this one is gone. City FC on Yes, presented by Etihad Airways, as the boys in blue host the Eastern Conference leading Montreal Impact at Yankee Stadium. Now watch the game on Yes Wednesday at midnight following Yankees coverage, or stream it live on Fox Sports Go. Brett Nicholas will lead it off, followed by Delino DeShields, then at the top of the order, and Rougned Odor facing Nathan Eovaldi. And the first pitch is outside for ball 1. Next pitch will be number 70. Pitch count in good stead. That's high and away. Ball 2-0. 95-mile-an-hour fastball. Nicholas struck out in the third inning. One of 5 strikeouts thus far for Nathan Eovaldi. You saw pitching coach Larry Rothschild with a keen eye. That's in there for a strike. Watching Eovaldi work, and he's got a good one going.
About the 3rd or 4th time that Eovaldi's fallen behind 2-0 to a lefty batter and thrown a backdoor slider for a strike.
Swung on and missed. Strike 2, 2-2.
You know, we've all talked about Nathan Eovaldi becoming more of a pitcher and becoming less predictable. Well, you fall down 2-0 and 2 straight sliders. One in the outside corner, one on the inside corner. Now you're back even 2-2. And here comes a splitter.
Count is run full. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
The last piece of the puzzle for Mr. Eovaldi is the inside corner.
Here's the payoff pitch, and it's hit on the ground to the right side. Castro has it. 1 up and 1 down here in the 6th inning.
Center fielder, the Shields.
Here's Delino DeShields. He's 0 for 1. He grounded out to second. So far, only 2 base runners for the Rangers. An error and a walk. DeShields squares the bunt, takes it in there for a call strike that had Headley charging from third and Teixeira charging from first. DeShields has excellent speed. You can see they're in at the corners. The 0-1 pitch, and that's in there for a call strike. He jumps ahead on the count 0-2. DeShields is just 2 for his last 21. Swing and a miss, strike 3. He got him. 6 strikeouts now for Nathan Eovaldi.
A couple of sliders and then a splitter. Bottom drops out of it.
All 6 swinging, which would tell you that splitter is really diving tonight. Here's Rougned Odor, the leadoff hitter.
Well, one of the things I always noticed about pitching here in this ballpark, Kenny, was, you know, we talk about the wind currents and the jet streams, and one of the things that the wind does is affect the movement on the pitches as well.
Ball right to the first baseman Teixeira. That's it for the Rangers. 1, 2, 3. Call your friends and family now. Don't shoot the messenger. He has a no-hitter going. Yankee Baseball Live with the MLB.com at-bat app. Stay up to the moment at any moment with Game Day Live, game video highlights, StatCast, news, and more. Download MLB.com at-bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your phone and tablet. And how many of those fans are checking that out right now, and they see that Nathan Eovaldi's working on a no-hitter as we go to the top of the 7th. On our GMC scoreboard, it's 3-0. Austin Romine fouls a pitch off the end of the bat. Romine is grounded out and single. And as I said, Tony, don't shoot the messenger. He's got a no-hitter going. And he looked pretty strong up to this point.
Economically speaking as well. Pitch count's in great shape.
Ramos deals, and his 90th pitch of the night is inside for a ball, 1-1. Yankees 3, Rangers nothing. Outside for a ball. Swing and a miss on an off-speed pitch. Excellent changeup there. Evens the count at 2-2.
Kenny, you mentioned there's some weather moving into the area. It's been a very breezy night all the way around. Wind conditions affecting fly balls. They affect the pitches too. It's one thing I always noticed about pitching here. My splitter always dove pretty well here. Almost as if the wind can take pitches and make them move a little bit more.
3 balls and 2 strikes. Knuckleballers would say the same thing.
Charlie Huff, that pitched down here in Texas, had a big breaking knuckleball here. Eovaldi's splitter diving off the table tonight.
3-2 pitch to Romine on the way, and he pops it behind the plate, and the count remains 3 balls and 2 strikes. Romine, Ellsbury, and Gardner for the Yankees here in the 7th inning. You know, I can recall doing David Wells' perfect game with Jim Cott, and I thought once he got to the 7th inning, I looked through the Twins lineup, and I said, if he gets by Paul Molitor, I think the rest of them will fall in place. Ball is hit hard, and it's a base hit for Romine, his 2nd hit of the night. He's going to take a turn here. Let's see. He's going to hold on with a long single. So Austin Romine with a 2-hit night. Jeff Bannister looked like he was ready to go to the mound. He's got a right-hander ready, but he's got Ellsbury and Gardner and Beltran, a switch hitter, coming up. So there's 3 lefties there. Potentially, yeah. You
can see the wheels spinning right there. One step up and then step back down.
Ellsbury tonight has popped up, hit a home run, and grounded into a double play. Well, for now, he's going to leave the left-hander in there. And a toss over to first. Romine is back. In fact, following Beltran is another switch hitter, Mark Teixeira. So really, the next scheduled right-handed hitter would be all the way down to Castro's spot. Ellsbury hits it hard. It's going into right field for a base hit. Romine is going to stop at 2nd as Mazzara gets the ball in. So back-to-back singles open it up for the Yankees here in the 7th, and I believe that might be it. Yep, here he comes. Jeff Bannister, the manager, is going to take the ball from Ramos. And at the beginning of the game, Bannister said if he gives us 5, that's what he was hoping for. Ramos has pitched here into the 7th inning. As the Rangers go to the bullpen. 2 on, nobody out for the Yankees here in the 7th. Baseball on Yes is brought to you in part by Mazda. Driving matters. By People's United Bank NA, where know-how brings you Touch ID to your mobile device. And by your Tri-Honda dealers. Hurry to your local Tri-Honda dealer for great deals on the 2016 models. Beautiful night here in Arlington, Texas. Situated between Dallas and Fort Worth. Jeff Bannister talking it up with Cesar Ramos, and those are the numbers. 5 strikeouts, a couple of walks, 6+ innings, 9 hits, 96 pitches, and he left 2 men on base. Let's see what the Yankees do here with Brett Gardner at the plate. Facing the big, tall right-hander Phil Klein. Squares the bunt, takes it outside for ball 1.
Ramos did a great job in this circumstance for the Rangers. It looked like Bannister got a little greedy, pushed him a little too far, and now this guy's in there with a little bit of a mess to work with. First and second, nobody down.
Pretty good numbers for Klein. 7 strikeouts in just over 5 innings. Looks like the Yankees are trying to build here. No bunt this time, and this is upstairs for ball 2. 2 balls and no strikes. Yankees tonight are 1 for 6 with runners in scoring position. Of course, they've hit 2 solo home runs. Kind of take the sting out of that number. Gardner has popped up, struck out twice.
Girardi going to give Gardner a chance to swing the bat here in this situation.
Well, 2-0 count, I'd let him go. And he takes high, ball 3. So Klein's a pitch away from loading the bases with nobody out. And Carlos Beltran on deck. The 3-0 pitch. And that is poured in there for a strike. 3-1. Yankees threatening to break this one open. They have a 3-0 lead. 2 men on, nobody out here in the 7th inning.
Klein missing with 3 straight fastballs, throws a 3-0 slider for a strike.
This one's foul, out of play over the Yankee dugout, and the count is now run full at 3-2 on Gardner. This is the first of 3 here in Texas, and 3 more in Boston, and finally 3 more in Baltimore. And then the Yankees return home to Yankee Stadium, and they play the Boston Red Sox. Three and 2, nobody out. And here's your payoff pitch, and it's fouled off once again by Brett Gardner. Gardner's as good as anybody, but spoiling type swing, fouling pitches off, keeping at bats going.
Good spoil right there on a 3-2 slider in the outside corner.
7th pitch of the at bat coming up. The 3-2 pitch once again, hit on the ground towards second. Odor has it. Badgers for 1 on the first. The throw is wide, and Gardner safe. Romine stops at third, so the Yankees have runners on the corners with 1 out, as Ellsbury is erased at second.
Well, at first you thought, oh no, but Gardner's running, and he's really hard to double up.
I'm not so sure they would have had him with an accurate throw.
Kind of a high chopper, and gave Gardner just enough time to get out of the box and down the line, and speed forces infielders to get rid of it quickly, and in that case wide right.
Here's Beltran, who has walked in 3 trips, also scored a run. Gardner's going to gain some attention over at first. Klein looks like he's about 6'7". It might take him a while to unload. Gardner might be thinking about second base. That way the Yankees could stay out of a potential double play. That's way upstairs. Good stop by Nicholas to keep that from going back to the screen.
Looking for a fastball in, and wow, that's a good stab by Nicholas back there. See a lot of pitches like that go all the way back to the backstop.
I've been watching a lot of basketball. Klein is 6'7". Another check on Brett Gardner. Derek Holland, member of the Rangers rotation, talking with Ramos. Gardner's not going. The pitch is high once again. 2 balls and no strike. Nicholas out for a chat with Phil Klein.
Klein's had trouble with the strike zone since his first pitch. Carlos Beltran in the driver's seat right now.
Austin Romine at third. Brett Gardner at first. Runners on the corners for the Yankees. Beltran hits this one well, but foul to right field out front. 2 balls and a strike. As for now, the Ranger bullpen is quiet. This is all on Phil Klein. Swung on and missed. Strike 2, 2-2. The 2-2 pitch. Swung on and missed. Strike 3. Klein reaches back for a little extra and strikes out Beltran, and now there are 2 outs and runners at first and third. It's a big strikeout for Phil Klein. Another switch hitter jumps over to the other side of the plate. Mark Teixeira is 2 for 3 with a run batted in tonight.
Beltran just got a little too anxious, went up above the strike zone, swung at 2 pitches up and over.
Now that's just when you have to get disciplined. While we have a chance here, we'll remind you that this copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the New York Yankees and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the New York Yankees. Tanaka, Ackley, McCann, Teixeira.
Well, Ackley just went the opposite look as a Yankee than he had with the Mariners, right? He had long hair and a big beard, shaved his head and shaved his beard.
Like he wanted to witness protection or something. That pitch is high for a ball. 1-0. The University of North Carolina. Former teammate of Adam Warren. Teixeira ahead on the count. 1 ball and no strikes. That is in there for a strike. 1-1.
Klein's got to be a tough guy to hit off of. Just kind of wild all over the place, up, down. As you said, Vinny, 6'7". Throws hard. Doesn't know where it's going.
Outside, ball 2, 2-1.
The pitcher doesn't know where it's going, and the hitter surely doesn't know where it's going.
We've mentioned that Beltran has 396 home runs. Teixeira 397. Wonder who's going to be the first to 400. Here's the pitch. And it's pop foul behind home plate and out of play. We'll chop her down to first base line, and it's a foul ball. Home plate umpire makes the call before the ball gets to the bag. After that, it's the first base umpire's call.
Which I never really understood that, because the first base umpire's got a great look at it, and the home plate umpire is scrambling around. But as Kenny said, he's right. That's why the third base umpire, the first base umpire, does not make the call right away. That calls the responsibility of the home plate umpire, and that's a funny rule, because the first base umpire clearly had the better view.
Yeah, I think one reason it's that way, because they don't want one guy calling it one way and one guy calling it the other. Pitch is fouled off by Teixeira once again. You don't want a discrepancy in opinions on the close one.
The home plate umpire's got such a big responsibility calling balls or strikes.
Yeah.
Two things. Paul O'Neill's favorite bugaboo, the check swing.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be doing that on his own, and that particular call should get some help.
Swung on and missed, strike three. So Klein strikes out Beltran, and then Teixeira to get out of it here in the 7th inning. The Yankees leave 2 men on. Nathan Eovaldi will take the hill in the bottom of the 7th. He's got a no-hitter going, folks. Y'all want to come back for this. Jack, fans, it's time for the game summary brought to you by your local Nissan dealer. And as you can see, zeros across for the Texas Rangers on their side. The Yankees 3 runs, 9 hits, 1 error. Ellsbury installing Castro with home runs, and Teixeira with an RBI double. So here we go. No hits through 6 innings for the Texas Rangers. It'll be Nomar Mazara, Adrian Beltre, and Prince Fielder on our GMC scoreboard. It's 3-0 Yankees. As Jack Curry mentioned, pitch count in pretty good stead. Next pitch will be number 80. Mazara's ground out, drawn a walk. That is in there for a strike.
Jack Curry was all over it. Bob Lorenz, as they usually are, but absolutely correct. Eovaldi, excellent command of his breaking stuff today, particularly that slider. He's been able to save his splitter for strikeouts later in the counts, and in middle counts when he needs to get a strike and doesn't want to throw a fastball, he's been able to drop that slider over at will.
He's fallen behind 3-1. At 2, 3, and 4 coming up this inning. That's over the outside corner for a strike. The count is run full at 3-2. Just the 4th 3-2 count for Eovaldi tonight. Here's the payoff pitch. Grounded, foul. Tough splitter. Mazzara checking his bat, see if he didn't break it. Got a rookie and then 2 veteran hitters coming up here in the 7th. Timeout call. The shin guard. The Velcro came loose.
And Omar Mazzara, 6'4", about 220. Be 21 years old tomorrow.
Ground ball to the left side. This is going to get through for a base hit. Mazzara beats the shift. And the Rangers have their first hit of the night. A leadoff single here in the 7th.
Good pitch down and away. See the reaction.
Clearly knew what was going on. Clearly wanted it. Disappointed. Romine upset as well. 3-2 fastball on the outside corner. Give Mazzara credit. He went with it and hit it where they ain't.
Here's Beltran. Hits it hard, and is it caught on the fly? Yes, it is. The throw to first base. Well, they said it wasn't caught on the fly. Now Mazzara is in a rundown. He's tagged out, and that's an unconventional double play. Second base umpire Fielding Cobra said that Starlin Castro did not catch the ball on the fly, and Castro's talking to him right now. He seems to think that he did. Either way, the Yankees got the double play.
We'll get another look right here.
That's close. Castro seemed to think he caught it on the fly, and he threw it to Teixeira to double up Mazzaro. 4-3-6 on the double play. Pitch the fielders in there for a strike. Let's take a look at the pitch that broke up the no-hitter.
Back in 1999, when I threw my perfect game, that was a ground ball to shortstop.
Yeah, you know, I was thinking the same thing.
Nowadays, that's a base hit. Derek Jeter had that one in his hip pocket in 1999.
Because he's, what, over here a little bit more?
Yup.
0-2 on Prince Fielder. And he lines one to right field. On the move is Ackley, and he can't get it. This one's going all the way to the wall, and Prince Fielder jumped on a high fastball, and he picks up the Rangers' second hit. Be a good time to go out and talk to Eovaldi, just to try and settle him down. You know, he had to be disappointed losing the no-hitter. And here goes Austin Romine.
Yeah, I think he kind of got a break because Beltre's ball was hit hard right at Castro for the double play. So,
in case you didn't like the first hit of the game, Prince Fielder on top of that one. As Ackley takes a shot at it. And that's in the gap, and Now the Prince fielder would need a little red Corvette to get a triple on this one.
I see what you did there. But he did go up on the top limb and jump on that fastball. There's a pitch in there for a strike to Ian Desmond. That double for Fielder snaps in 0 for 10. Johnny Barbado up in the Yankee bullpen. Yankees up 3-0. Strike 2 call. Man, that dove.
He's had a good slider tonight. Good breaking stuff. Curveball and slider in the strike zone and good counts. It's kind of saved him all night long.
Ground ball to short for Gregorius. That's it. Eovaldi loses no-hitter, but he still has the lead. We're going to the 8th inning. Yankees up 3-0. Those were the thrilling moments of the game, brought to you by Pepsi. Pepsi is giving you a chance to earn your pinstripes. Visit Yankees.com/Pepsi Pinstripes for more details. Here we go to the 8th. The Yankees are up 3-0. New pitcher for the Texas Rangers. The hard-throwing left-hander Jake Diekman, who came over from the Phillies along with Cole Hamels last year. He's been in 9 games. Still working on an ERA. 6 strikeouts in 5 1/3 innings. And opponent's batting average just .056. He'll get Castro, Headley, and Ackley for the Yankees here in the 8th.
Yeah, he wasn't just a throw-in on that Cole Hamels trade. This guy throws hard from the left side.
Castro is homer in 3 at-bats on our Hyundai scoreboard. 3-0 Yankees. Fastball in there for a call strike. Diekman's delivery, you can see he can be tough on left-handers. Castro's probably seen a lot of Jake Diekman when they're both in the National League. Big swing, found the back of the screen. Castro's in the hole. No balls and 2 strikes. Yankees scored a run and 2 runs in the 3rd inning. One on a home run by Ellsbury, and a 2-out double scored Beltran. The Yankees were up 2-0. They added a run on Castro's home run in the 6th.
Castro's was impressive too. Kind of a wind cheater to left field.
Ground ball to the left side. Beltre has it glance off his glove and go into left field for a hit. Oh, when you're a hitter and you've started the night out 0 for 2 and you come back and you're 2 for 4, you feel pretty good. Castro with a homer and now a single in his last 2 at-bats.
The stat in sabermetrics land called batting average on balls in play, and by about a ½ an inch there off the web. The luck factor.
Headley's up. He's 1 for 3. Single, lined out, grounded out. Was robbed of a hit by Andrus in the 6th. First pitch, low and inside for ball 1. Now back, the ball and a strike. You know, Headley would tell you he's not off to the start he would like to get this year. He hit 149 coming into the game tonight. But one thing I've always said, watch the way hitters make their outs. When they're starting to hit the ball harder, then you can see they can't catch them all. You just continue to hit them hard, that average will come up. Andrus robbed him of a hit. He's also had a single tonight, so he could just as soon have a 2-hit night going.
It was an outstanding play by Andrus to rob Chase Headley before.
Now back once again, a ball and 2 strikes. You know, there's some years I was rolling around the interstates in April, but I could feel myself coming out of it, just seeing the ball better, hitting it harder, and all of a sudden you're headed back to where you belong.
And this is, you know, you need Chase Headley, especially batting right-handed.
Yeah.
The Yankees have struggled against lefties.
Just missed the inside corner. It's 2-2. 95-mile-an-hour fastball by Jake Diekman.
The 3 Yankee switch hitters, Teixeira, Beltran, and Headley, so important against left-handed pitching that the Yankees have really struggled against so far this year.
Ground ball foul. The Yankees came in tonight hitting just .225 against lefties. That's got to improve. And that's why these managers seem to be lining up left-handed pitchers to face them. The Rays called up young Blake Snell, left-hander, to face the Yankees. And the Rangers called up Ramos. 2 different styles, but they're both left-handed. That just fouled off once again.
Yeah, Blake Snell looked good, didn't he? He's got a funky fastball.
Yeah, he'll be back. They sent him out after the game, right back to the minor leagues. Called strike 3. Headley might have thought it was high, but Jim Reynolds didn't.
Well, watch the catcher's glove. It's clearly a little movement. It's above the belt, as we're going to see here. Almost letter high and borderline inside corner. That's a pitch, you know, that hasn't been called tonight a strike. So
Joe Girardi used to do that. Headley was framed.
Indeed.
Here's Dustin Ackley, and he'll take a pitch for a call strike. In the hole, no balls and 2 strikes after the foul ball to the left. Ackley still with no contact night going. He's walked and struck out twice. Diekman has thrown 12 pitches this inning. Just 2 out of the strike zone. And with good stuff. This ball's hit well to center field. It's going to chase the Shields back. He turns, makes the catch. Castro's going to turn as well, but he's heading back to first base. 2 outs. Ackley hit that one well.
Shortstop Didi Gregorius.
And that'll leave it up to Didi Gregorius here in the top of the 8th inning. Didi's 1 for 3.
I think Ackley's going to be thinking about that home run that just went foul his first at bat. Almost hit the foul pole.
Yeah, stuff happens. Some of them get rained out too. Gregorius with a looper towards left field. Andres going back. He's there. Makes the catch. Leadoff single. Goes for naught for the Yankees here in the 8th. Rangers coming up in their half of the inning.
Here in Texas, as the Yankees are leading this ball game, and in large part because of Nathan Eovaldi's splitter. You can see the thing diving down hard. This is the one we've been looking for. Eovaldi has mixed his pitches so well that he saved that splitter for strikeout situations, and you see all of those pitches are nasty splitters. 6 strikeouts on the night as he takes it into the 8th inning.
92 pitches. The Yankees have not had a pitcher go 8 innings this year. Mitch Moreland, Elvis Andrus, and Brett Nicholas, the scheduled hitters on our Monday scoreboard. First pitch. Curveball drops in low for ball 1. Moreland tonight is flied to center and struck out. Dylan Betances up in the bullpen just in case here in the 8th inning. Ball 2. 2 balls and no strikes. .94 is swung on and missed for a strike. Texas pen is busy as well as we come to the 8th inning. Ball is hit foul by Moreland. I should say the bottom of the 8th inning.
Potentially a great way for the Yankees to start off this road trip with a very sharp Nathan Eovaldi going deep into this game.
Sometimes one starting pitcher can inspire the rest of the staff. Just as you know, a great performance by a hitter can get the rest of the hitters going. 2-2 pitch, and that is low. 3-2. The thing about the 6 strikeouts for Eovaldi tonight, he has not struck out any Ranger hitter twice. As Moreland draws a walk. second walk of the night allowed by Nathan Eovaldi.
And obviously, this game 3-0 still in the balance. Girardi's going to come out. Looking back at Rothschild to make sure that the reliever is ready and already made the move.
98 pitches, an extraordinary effort tonight by Nathan Eovaldi. He's going to leave with a 3-0 lead and a man on first base. Took a no-hitter into the 7th inning before allowing 2 hits, a single and a double, but has kept the Rangers off the scoreboard as the Yankees lead 3-0. Hands in attendance here and hands from his teammates and coaches. We'll be back. Usually bringing a good slider and a tremendous fastball. In fact, of his last 17 outs he's recorded, 15 have been strikeouts. 22 strikeouts in 9 innings. Just 2 walks. Opponents hitting 152. He's been on a roll of late. His last 24 outs, 21 have been strikeouts.
Given up nothing and struck out the world and still has an 0-1 record.
First pitch is ball 1 to Elvis Andrus, who's 0 for 2.
Told you records were overrated.
He's recorded at least 2 strikeouts in each of his last 8 appearances. Ball hit on the ground towards short. Gregorius has it, steps on second and 1 on the first, and there's a double play. And instead of a strikeout, he gets 2 for the price of 1. So 2 outs, nobody on. It'll bring up Brett Nicholas.
Almost anticlimactic at this point with Betances, right? I mean, the slider up the end of the bat. Just a lousy double play with 1 pitch.
What, are you disappointed?
Didn't strike him out, yeah.
Here's Brett Nicholas. Struck out and grounded out. Check swing, goes around too far. There's strike 1. What an effort tonight by Nathan Eovaldi. Just off the outside corner, 1-1, a 96-mile-an-hour fastball.
That's the nasty Nate that the Yankees have been talking about and working on and looking for right there.
This ball's hit high in the air to right field. Ackley going back, still going back, turns at the wall, and this one's gone. A home run for Brett Nicholas. His first major league home run. And it's now a 3-1 ball game. And now Betances has an earned run average.
Yes, he does. And Nicholas runs into this one, the slider that runs right into his bat, in his wheelhouse, and puts a good swing on it.
So the Rangers have broken through on the scoreboard. Here's Ackley with the good effort. And Delino DeShields takes a pitch outside for ball 1. Ball is fouled off, and it's a ball and a strike. Two balls and a strike. If Betances can get the Shields here, there's two left-handed hitters coming up for the Rangers in the ninth. This ball is fouled off. And of course you've got the specter of Andrew Miller in the bullpen. There he is, the Yankee closer. That just missed. 3-2.
Get another look here as Austin Romine tries to bring it back just a bit. You can see the movement on the glove.
Here's the 3-2 pitch. And that's in there. Called strike 3. The Shields caught looking. The Rangers do pick up a run here in the 8th inning. We're headed to the 9th. It's 3-1 Yankees. Inning with the Yankees up 3-1. A reminder, we'll be back here tomorrow night, and these big pitchers, scheduled pitchers, are Luis Severino for the Yankees, and AJ Griffin will get the start for the Texas Rangers in the middle game of the 3-game series. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. right here on Yes. Andrew Romines had a good game calling pitches tonight. He's also had a good game at the plate. He's 2 for 3. Couple of singles. Austin Romine. Pitch is fouled back to the screen by Austin Romine. I looked out in the bullpen. I saw Andrew Miller warming up, and I've heard the name Andrew Romine so often. I just put the two together.
It happens.
Yeah. Well,
Called Carlos Beltran Beltre a couple times tonight. Of course, the Romine family, quite a family. From the father Kevin, who I pitched against. So I used to call Austin Kevin for the first 2 years, and I finally got that one right. I got Austin down now. Of course, his brother plays for the Tigers.
Yeah.
So pretty good baseball family going on right there.
You got that right. A ball and 2 strikes on Austin Romine.
Kevin was a pretty good hitter, his father.
Second generation ball players. Ball's hit in the air to center field for DeShields. One father and son combination flies out to another. 1 down here in the ninth. Bring up Jacoby Ellsbury. Ellsbury, like Romine, has a 2-hit night going. He's a single and a home run. 2 for 4. Curveball in the dirt. Wilhelmsen, the former closer for the the Seattle Mariners, really struggled so far this year. Came in with left-handed batters hitting .714 against him, and righties hitting .381. Ball is fouled off. That gets a piece of Ellsbury, and he's in some pain. And Joe Girardi, Stevie Donahue coming out to check on him. Have you ever done that as a hitter, Dan?
No.
It's no fun, believe me. Right off the back foot.
I've done it to a lot of hitters, though. The sliders down and in.
Yeah, you probably got a smile on your face, too.
Yeah, I'd be grinning right now on the mound. I'd be secretly smirking.
Well, Guidry got me with one of his sliders. I had to
throw
go
it right back down there again, too.
Well, I had to go over to Columbia Presbyterian for an X-ray.
Find out how mean Wilhelmsen is here. Throw the same pitch down and in. See if you can get him to do it again.
I was back in there the next day. They told me it wasn't broken, but years later I went for an X-ray for something, and the doctor said, "Did you ever break your toe?" I said, "They told me I didn't." Pitch is low inside for a ball. Right back in there.
Like it.
Oh, you like it.
Tried to get him again. That was Earl Weaver called over to the hospital and told him that your toe wasn't broken.
You know what? Now that I think about it, that's something he would do. The 2-1 pitch. Off-speed pitch. 2-2. May he rest in peace. By far the best manager I ever played for. Ellsbury fouls it back to the screen. One thing with him, Coney, he always had your back. Always. He would yell and scream at you, but he always had your back.
You guys had his back, too.
Well, we could yell and scream at him, too.
Pushed him right to the Hall of Fame.
2-2 pitch is on the way. And it's swung on and missed. Strike 3. So Ellsbury, first strikeout victim for Wilhelmsen. And there's 2 outs, nobody on. It'll bring up Brett Gardner, looking for his first hit of the night. Bouncing ball slowly hit to the right side. Odor's going to have to hurry. And he just got Gardner. Almost laid back a little too long. Almost paid the price. So it's to the bottom of the ninth. The Yankees are up by a score of. The Yankees are up by a score of 3-1. Mason post game. Bob Lorenz, Jack Curry are back in the studio with highlights, analysis of tonight's game, plus Meredith Marakovitz as reaction from the clubhouse. It's all coming up on the WB Mason post game, only on Yes. Here's the Yankee closer, Andrew Miller, and he'll be in charge of trying to nail this one down for the Yankees. 4 for 4 in save opportunities. He's pitched 8 innings, 15 strikeouts, and no walks. Opponents are batting $115. And he'll get Odor, Mazara, and Beltre. The Yankees are up by 2.
Andrew Miller has been everything the Yankees could have asked for from the day he signed that contract to wear the pinstripes.
Eovaldi went 7, Betances went 1, and now Andrew Miller, and his first pitch, it's a call strike. Odor tonight is 0 for 3. Hit in the air to left field for Gardner. He's going to have to go back on this one, but he turns and makes the catch for out number 1. Rangers have 2 outs remaining. So Odor going to have to do with a 0 for 4 night. Nomar Mazara, the rookie, broke up Nathan Eovaldi's no-hitter leading off the 7th inning. Grounded a 3-2 pitch into left field for a base hit. He's also walked. Low and away with the slider for ball 1. Bouncing ball foul off the front of the Rangers dugout. Can't even to the ball in a strike. It's one of the longest road trips of the year for the Yankees. A 9-game, but they do have an off day in Boston. And they also have an off day in Baltimore. Bouncing ball to the right side for Castro. He gloves it. He throws it. There's 2 down here in the 9th. And that'll leave it up to the veteran, Adrian Beltre, to try and keep this one going. Beltre's grounded out, flied out, and grounded into a double play. call strike on his slider. Skip a little rope there, and it's 1-1. Yankees 1 out away from going 1 up in this series.
Ron Guidry-like slider from 1978.
Bouncing ball, tough hop for Headley. He handles it on the first, and there's your ball game. Miller with a 1-2-3 ninth. Just 8 pitches as he picks up his 5th save. The Yankees win this one by a score of 3-1. Great pitching night, some long ball hitting that put this one into win column for the Yankees as they open up the road trip in style. Joe Girardi going to go out and shake hands with the rest of his ball club as the Yankees win this one by a score of 3-1, holding the Rangers to just 3 hits.